He knocked once. I looked out the attic windows and saw my brother. The same brother who vanished 10 years ago. No calls. No body. No goodbye. Just a truck that left one morning and never came back. But there he was, same jacket, same stare, same silence. He didn't say a word, just stood on the porch like a ghost with unfinished business. Then he walked away. And that night, someone broke into the house. Didn't steal a thing, just left the back door open. My name is Aaron, and this is how I learned the will wasn't the only thing Mom was hiding. See, I was up there looking for a photo album, something to bring to the small memorial we'd planned with a few of Mom's old church friends. But tucked between two books, inside one of Dad's old vinyl sleeves, I found a yellow envelope. No stamp, no address, just her handwriting on the front. For Aaron, only if Matthew returns. Matthew, my brother, the one who vanished, the one I just saw. My hands were shaking before I even opened it. The letter inside was short, 5 lines, handwritten, same blue ink she always used for birthday cards. If Matthew is home, then my second will must be opened. It's in the black tin under the floorboards of my closet. You'll know which board. This is my true wish. Mom. I didn't know whether to laugh or throw up. I read it twice, then climbed down from the attic like a man walking off a cliff. Mom had a second will? I'd already seen the official one, signed, notarized, filed by her lawyer. It named me as sole heir. The house, the savings, her tiny pension. It was all coming to me. Because, as the lawyer said, with no contact from your brother in over a decade, and no one naming him, the estate passes directly to you. But that wasn't true. Not anymore. If what I found was real, Mom had made a second will, one that named Matthew. And here's the kicker. When I pulled up the closet floorboard, hard in my throat, I found the tin. Inside, the original second will, signed, witnessed, dated just 9 months ago. And it named my brother, my missing brother, as the sole beneficiary. Not shared, not split equally. All of it. To Matthew. The brother who left, the brother I just saw. And the very same night I found the will, someone broke into the house. Didn't steal anything. Didn't break a window. Just left the back door open. Like maybe someone still had a key. Or maybe someone had never really left at all. And that's how this started. Not with grief. Not with closure. But with a lie buried under floorboards and a face from the past watching from the shadows. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table with the second will in front of me. The same table where Mom used to fold laundry and hum old hymns under her breath. It looked so official. Legal-size paper. 2 signatures I didn't recognize, dated 9 months before she died. 9 months. Which meant she was still of sound mind, still lucid, still remembering to take her heart meds and shake the salt twice over her eggs. So why would she do it? Why leave everything to the son who'd walked away? And why keep it secret? The door creaked around 2 a.m. That was the first time I felt it. That low, deep hum of fear. The kind that doesn't hit like a panic attack, but settles into your spine like cold water. I walked through the dark house with a bat in one hand and my phone in the other. Every shadow felt taller. Every silence louder. But there was no one there. Back door was unlocked. Same as before. No signs of forced entry. Nothing missing. Nothing moved. Just opened. Like someone wanted me to know they'd been there. I locked the door again and slid the bolt. Pushed a chair under the handle. Not because I thought it would stop anyone, but because I needed to feel like I was doing something. I slept in Mom's recliner. Not because it was comfortable, but because from that spot, I could see every entrance. The next morning, I drove straight to her lawyer's office. Small building. Brick with peeling paint. The kind of place where you expect to see a candy dish and dusty blinds. Mr. Collins met me at the door. Late 60s. Kind eyes. Wore his wedding ring on a chain around his neck after his wife passed. He liked Mom. Said she reminded him of his sister. I showed him the will. Watch his eyebrows rise. Watch the whole tone in the room shift from routine to something heavier. He looked at me for a long time. Then said, she told me there was a second version. But I never asked to see it. Why not? I asked. Because she asked me not to. Said she'd give it to the right person when the time came. Is it legal? I asked. He didn't answer at first. Just ran his fingers along the page like he was checking for a heartbeat. Then he said, if it's authentic, and it looks like it is, then yes. It would override the first one. I stared at the paper. Even though Matthew's been gone 10 years? Collins nodded slowly. If he returns, he's the legal heir. I asked about the witnesses. He recognized one name, Helen Rhodes, a friend from church. The other name didn't ring a bell. Collins said he'd make a few calls. I left the will with him. Took a copy. My head was a hornet's nest. When I pulled back into Mom's driveway, something stopped me cold. The gate to the backyard was open. We never left it open. It creaked in the wind like something out of a bad dream. I parked fast, got out, ran around back. And there, right in front of the old swing set, was a footprint. One I didn't recognize. Deep, heavy, fresh in the soft dirt from the rain 2 days ago. Not mine. Not the mailman's. Too big to be from one of the neighbor kids. I didn't touch it. Didn't even breathe on it. Just backed away and snapped a photo. Later that night, I pulled out the old family photo albums. Flipped through pages like they held answers instead of faded memories. And when I saw him, Matthew, age 21, in boots he wore everywhere, I stopped. The boots. Same brand. Same cut. Same patch of worn leather above the heel. I didn't have a photo of the tread. But somehow, I just knew. That footprint in the dirt? It was his. My brother was here. Not 10 years ago. Now, in this yard. I tried to convince myself I was wrong. That grief was making me see things. That maybe I wanted him to be back so badly I was forcing shadows into shapes. But I couldn't shake it. Then, just after midnight, I got a text. Blocked number. No name. Just 3 words. It's his now. And that's when I knew. This wasn't just about Mom's will. It was about why she rewrote it. And what my brother was willing to do to make sure I never touched any of it. I didn't respond to the text. Didn't sleep either. Instead, I sat in the dark, one hand on my phone, the other holding the old hunting knife Dad used to keep in his truck. It wasn't rational. Wasn't like I was going to chase ghosts through the hallway. But when fear takes root, it doesn't care about logic. It just grows. By morning, the message had disappeared. Deleted. Not by me. And if that doesn't send a chill down your back, you've never had your past look you in the eye and dare you to blink first. I called Helen Rhodes, one of the witnesses on the second will. She answered on the 3rd ring. Her voice cracked like it hadn't been used in a while. I told her who I was. She got quiet, then asked if this was about Maggie's new will. I said yes. She sighed, deep and sad, like a woman who regretted answering. She made me promise not to say anything unless Matthew came back. I swallowed. Did you know where he went? No, she said quickly. But she did. At least part of the time. That stopped me. You're saying my mom kept in contact? Helen hesitated. She didn't tell me details. Just that she got letters. Every few years. No return address. Always signed the same way. I asked her what the signature said. She cleared her throat. It was a phrase. See you when it's safe. That was it. My chest went tight. Because I remembered that phrase. It was something Dad used to say when he'd leave us home during storms to go check on the neighbors. Mom would worry. Matthew would panic. And Dad would say it like a promise. See you when it's safe. It was a family thing. A private thing. Something you didn't say unless you knew it meant something. Helen said she witnessed the new will on a Thursday morning. Said Matthew had written again just 2 weeks earlier. Mom hadn't shown her the letter, but Helen said her hands were shaking when she asked for help. Said she seemed scared. Not grieving. Scared. She said Matthew might come back. And if he did, things would get complicated. I asked if she knew what she meant by that. Helen said no. But her voice cracked again when she added, whatever happened between them, she still loved him. After we hung up, I sat in the yard with a cup of coffee that had gone cold in my hand. The swing set creaked in the breeze like it remembered things it couldn't say. And then I remembered something. Years ago, when we were kids, Matthew and I used to play hide and seek inside the house. Not outside, inside. One day he vanished for almost an hour. I thought he'd run away. I panicked, started crying. Then he appeared out of nowhere, smiling like he'd won the lottery. I asked where he'd been. He just said, secret room. I told Mom. She said there was no such thing. But Matthew never lied about games. So I went upstairs, into the attic, back to the corner where I found her letter, and I started knocking on the walls. Not loud. Just a soft rhythm, the kind that tells you when something is hollow. I found it behind the old wardrobe. The back panel came loose when I pried it with the hunting knife. Behind it? A narrow crawl space. No insulation. Just wood. Drywall. Dust. But there was something else. A duffel bag. Black. Zipped tight. Covered in a decade of cobwebs. Inside? Maps. Handwritten notes. An old cassette recorder. Receipts from gas stations in 3 different states. A knife. A burner phone. And photos, dozens of them, of our house. Taken from across the street. Taken from down the block. Taken from inside the yard. My breath caught. Because the latest photo was from last week. Same angle I stood in when I watched Matthew walk away from the porch. Except this time, he was the one taking the picture. There was a post-it note stuck to the back. For words. Don't trust the lawyer. That night, Something kept gnawing at me. A feeling. A question. So I drove back to Mr. Collins' office. The lights were on, but the blinds were drawn. I knocked. No answer. The door was locked, but I still had Mom's spare key. Inside, the air felt stale. Quiet. Collins wasn't there, but on his desk, just sitting there like it had been waiting. A file with my name on it. I opened it. Inside was a full photocopy of the second will, but with something extra. A fourth page. Not typed, not official. Just 6 words, scribbled in Mom's unmistakable handwriting. If he's back, don't tell Aaron. I stared at it, not understanding, until I realized. She must have added it after giving him the will. A last-minute instruction, one he never followed. Or maybe, one he later regretted. And I swear to you, right then, I felt the air leave the room. Because my mother hadn't written that for Collins. She wrote it for herself. A private note. A last-minute fear. Something she changed her mind about later. When she wrote me that attic letter. Because if she truly wanted to keep it from me, she wouldn't have told me where to find it. The 4th page haunted me. Not legally binding. Not notarized. Just 6 words in Mom's slanted handwriting, hurried and scared. If he's back, don't tell Aaron. I stared at that note in Collins' office like it might explain itself. Like if I looked long enough, the words would change. Soften. Make sense? They didn't. Instead, they cracked something inside me wide open. She didn't want me to know. Me. The son who stayed. Who visited every weekend. Who held her hand in the ER and trimmed her rose bushes when her arthritis flared. The one who made the soup she liked from that recipe in the church bulletin. She trusted Matthew. Not me. And I couldn't help but wonder, what did she know about him that I didn't? I left the office without touching anything else. Locked the door behind me. Still had the spare key Collins gave Mom years ago, when she started forgetting appointments and needed help managing her estate. Back at the house, I couldn't sit still. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't even breathe right. I listened to the tape recorder I found in the duffel bag. Took me a while to figure out how to play it. Old batteries corroded. Had to dig through the junk drawer for new ones. When it clicked on, there was a moment of static, then a breath, and then I heard his voice. Matthew. Calm. Measured. A little older than I remembered. But him. This message is for me. In case something goes wrong. In case I can't come back. He paused. But if someone else finds this, if it's Aaron, then I messed up. I paused the tape. Had to. That voice, so familiar, so distant, hit like a punch through time. I sat on the floor, back against Mom's old cedar chest, and pressed play again. I didn't leave because I hated you. I left because I saw something I couldn't explain, and I didn't trust what would happen if I stayed. He paused, long enough that I could hear him exhale. There was someone. Said to meet him. Motel, 2 towns over. He said he had answers about Dad. About his death. That made me freeze. Dad died in a hunting accident. Or that's what we were told. Clean shot. Misfire. Nothing suspicious, just a tragic story wrapped in cold November air. But Matthew kept talking. He said, Dad found something. On the land. Something buried. Said he was going to report it. Next thing, he's gone. 1 bullet. No autopsy. And the sheriff? Closed the case in under an hour. I remembered that day. I remembered how fast everything moved. But I was a kid. 17. I didn't ask questions. I believed what they told me. Matthew didn't. I started digging, he said. Found records that didn't line up. Ownership transfers. Land deals with shell companies. A name kept popping up, Calvin Rourke. That's who Dad called the day before he died. I paused the tape again. Because that name? I knew it. Rourke owned the development company that tried to buy Mom's land 5 years ago. Said he wanted to build a retirement village. Came to the house twice. Said he admired small-town values and offered her 3 times what the land was worth. She refused. Said it was the last thing my father left behind. Now, suddenly, he was tangled up in this? I hit play again. I followed Rourke. Took photos. Got close once. Too close. That's when the threats started. I tried to tell Mom. She begged me to stop. Told me to leave town until it cooled off. Another breath. I thought I'd be back in a week. Then 2. Then I realized someone was watching the house. Every day. Waiting. The next part of the tape cut out. A click. Static. Then a new recording started. Same voice, different tone. If anything happens to me, it won't be an accident. It won't be coincidence. And if they come for the will, for Mom's land, for anything protected, whatever's buried out there, they don't want it found. I sat with that. Alone. In the dark. Just me, the voice of the brother I thought I lost, and a secret bigger than any inheritance could hold. I went to Mom's bedroom. Opened the closet. Pulled up the floorboard again. Not the tin. Not the will. I dug deeper. That's when I found it. A metal lockbox, small and cold, tucked under the subfloor, covered in dust. Inside, a photo, an old one. Dad, standing next to a large black case. Military-looking, out in the woods near the edge of the property. His expression unreadable. A receipt for a storage unit. And a second set of land coordinates, handwritten in red pen. Coordinates that didn't match anything on Mom's deed. That night, I drove out to the property line, parked by the fence where the woods start, followed the numbers on the note, 50 yards past the ridge, down by the creek. And there, under the moonlight, I saw it. A patch of ground where the grass grew shorter, thinner, like something had been buried there. Or worse, unburied. Behind me, a branch snapped. Not from wind, not from squirrels. Footsteps. I turned, heart hammering. But no one was there. Not yet. Just the sound of the creek, the echo of my brother's voice in my head, and a growing certainty that whatever Matthew uncovered, someone still wanted it gone. Including, maybe, Mom. I didn't go back to the house that night. I drove. Nowhere in particular. Just away. That feeling that someone's behind you feeling clung to my skin like sweat. Even when the road opened up and the trees disappeared behind me, I couldn't shake it. My ears kept catching phantom footsteps. Every pair of headlights behind me looked like they were following too close. I didn't sleep. Just parked at an old truck stop 3 towns over, locked the doors, and sat behind the wheel until the sky turned pink and the air lost its bite. The storage unit key was still in my pocket. I must have grabbed it from the lockbox without realizing. Or maybe I needed it before I even knew why. Next morning, I went to the address on the receipt. It was the kind of place you only see in crime shows: chain link fence, keypad at the gate, rows of beige garages stretching into the fog. No cameras, no office open, but the code still worked. Unit number 47. The key slid in like it had been waiting. When I rolled the door up, the metal groaned like something waking from a long sleep. Inside, dust, tarps, silence, and a trunk. Old, wooden, military grade, by the looks of it. The kind of thing that wasn't meant for civilian hands. I opened it. The first thing I saw was a binder. Black, cracked leather. Inside were photocopies of permits, mineral rights surveys, and faded government memos, some stamped confidential, some with whole paragraphs blacked out. One caught my eye immediately. A document from 1987, Army Corps of Engineers, titled Ordnance Recovery, Unreported Zones Class D. I flipped through. The language was technical, but the meaning hit clear. That land out behind Mom's house? The part Dad refused to sell? It used to be a munitions dump, Cold War era. Decommissioned, but never cleared. On paper, it was neutralized. But according to the file, several containers had been unaccounted for when the government pulled out. I sat down right there in the dust, heart in my throat. Dad knew. Matthew found out. Mom tried to keep it buried. And Rourke? He'd been trying to buy that land for years. Not to build condos. To make sure nobody ever looked too close. Because if you find a chemical weapons site that never got cleaned up, that's not just a scandal. That's federal prison. I kept digging through the trunk, found more notes, more maps. And finally, at the bottom, something that didn't belong in a place like this. A baby book, tattered, blue, with cartoon bears on the front. Inside was my name, Aaron. But the entries? They weren't written by Mom. They were written by Dad. His handwriting, his jokes, his fears. Every page filled with love I hadn't known he had time to give. And tucked in the back was a note. To Aaron. For someday. When you're strong enough to know. I cried. Didn't mean to. But I did. Right there on the cold concrete. The truth hid in waves. Dad had been trying to protect us. Mom had been trying to protect the memory of him. And Matthew had been protecting me. Because everything he uncovered, every step closer to the truth, put all of us at risk. That night I drove home, trunk locked in the back seat. But when I got there, the front door was open, lights on. And the second I stepped inside, I felt it. Something wasn't right. I moved slow, called out. No answer. The living room had been searched. Drawers pulled out, cushions sliced open, bookshelves emptied. Someone had been looking for the will, or the tape, or the trunk. I grabbed the old rifle from behind the pantry door. Dad's. Still loaded. Then I heard it, footsteps upstairs. Soft, careful, but real. I crept up, heart pounding. Each step creaked louder than I wanted it to. At the top of the stairs, I froze. Because the attic door was open. Light spilled down like a trap. And then a shadow moved. I raised the rifle. Don't, said a voice. Low. Familiar. I turned the corner. And there he was. Matthew. Older. Gaunter. a bruise under one eye. But unmistakably him. He had his hands up, and in the corner, a torn manila envelope. He'd found the second will. We stared at each other for a long time. Neither of us moved. Then he said quietly, like he'd been practicing it for years, "You weren't supposed to find it, Danny. None of it. I came to destroy it. I didn't lower the rifle, but I didn't pull the trigger either. I just asked the only question that mattered. Why?" And his answer changed everything. He said, "Because if Rourke finds out you know what Dad found, he won't stop at a break-in." Then he looked past me, out the attic window, toward the woods, and whispered, "He'll come to finish what he started." I didn't move. Not at first. Just stood there with the rifle trembling in my hands, pointed at the brother I hadn't seen in 10 years, the one who disappeared without a word and left behind a grief that never settled right. Matthew kept his hands up, didn't flinch, didn't run, just looked me in the eye and said again, softer this time, "He'll come." And the way he said it? It wasn't fear. It was certainty. I lowered the gun, not because I forgave him, not because I trusted him, but because for the first time in a long time, I believed him. We sat in the attic, surrounded by the mess someone else had made. The will lay between us, crumpled, torn, still legible. I asked him everything. Why he left, why he never wrote me, why he let Mom carry the weight of his silence. He took a long breath, said he never meant to disappear for good. But once he started digging into Rourke, into what Dad really found, it became clear he couldn't stay and keep us safe. "I thought I could get the truth and come back a hero," he said, voice low. "But the truth, it eats people." I asked why he didn't destroy the will sooner. His eyes dropped. I tried, but Mom wouldn't let me. She said I deserved to come home, even if I never did. I asked about the manila envelope, the photos, the surveillance. That's when his voice changed. He said Rourke had people, not thugs, not hitmen, professionals, ones who knew how to bury problems without a sound. They were watching her, he said. That's why I came back. Not for the will, not for the land, for her. To say goodbye before they could make her disappear too. But he was too late. Mom had died suddenly, heart failure. Peaceful, the doctors said. But now? I wasn't so sure. The next few days were a blur. Matthew didn't stay in the house. Said it wasn't safe, but he stayed close. Gave me a burner phone. Said if I got spooked, I should press one button. That button would call him. I kept digging through the binder, the maps, the documents. Piece by piece, the picture came into focus. Rourke had been laundering land deals through shell companies for years, buying old munitions sites cheap, covering up environmental hazards, reselling to developers, quietly, illegally. Dad found one of those sites. Ours. And when he started asking questions, he got silenced. Same with a neighbor 2 miles down the ridge. Suicide. But Matthew had the photos, bruises on the wrists, boot prints near the shed. Then, one night, just before midnight, the doorbell rang. 3 slow knocks. Like a warning. I didn't answer. Watched through the peephole instead. It wasn't Rourke. It was Collins, the lawyer. Sweating. Pale. Trembling. He said he had to talk. I let him in. He walked straight to the kitchen, sat down, and put a flash drive on the table. Said he couldn't live with it anymore. Said Rourke paid him to delay the probate, to stall until Matthew could be declared officially deceased. Said once that happened, the land would be tied up in a legal trust, ripe for quiet acquisition. But your mother changed the plan, Collins whispered. She rewrote the will, gave it to Matthew, then to me, told me to hold it. But he broke down, said he tried to destroy it, but couldn't. Too much guilt. He left the flash drive and walked out. I didn't see him again, not in person. But 3 days later, after the article broke, his name showed up, hidden in the fine print. Anonymous affidavit, filed with federal court. Whistleblower. Protected. Turns out he didn't vanish. He told the truth, just not to me. The next morning, I sent everything, copies of the binder, the flash drive, the whistleblower statements, to a journalist friend of mine, former high school classmate. Now worked at a mid-sized investigative paper out of Des Moines. Told him it was big. Told him if I disappeared, it meant I was right. He didn't laugh. Just said, understood. 3 days later, it broke. Headline, Toxic Truth. Developer linked to Cold War cover-up, deaths. Rourke's face was on the news. His company was raided. His properties frozen. Investors jumped ship like rats in a burning house. I didn't go outside that week. Didn't open the curtains. Just sat in the house, waiting for the blowback. But it didn't come. Not in the way I expected. The night of the article's release, the backfield behind the house lit up. Fire. Big. Controlled. Clean. Flames licking the sky like they'd been waiting for years to breathe. Matthew stood beside me at the edge of the property. We both knew what it was. They're erasing what's left, he said. I asked if it was dangerous. He shook his head. Not anymore. Now it's just a warning. The land would never sell now. Not with the EPA involved. Not with the truth out. But I didn't care. It was home again. Because the secret it held was no longer buried. The next morning, Matthew was gone. Left the burner phone on the porch. Along with a letter. Danny, I was never good at staying. You were always better at roots. At holding things together. But I hope one day, when all this is just a story we tell ourselves to explain who we became, you'll know I did it for you. For Mom. For Dad. I'm not coming back. But I'll be watching. And if it's ever not safe again, you'll see me. I folded the letter. Put it in the cedar chest. Right next to the old family photo album. The house is quiet now. But not empty. It breathes different. Feels like it can finally exhale. Mom's gone. Dad's gone. Matthew. Well, he was never really here to begin with. But I am. And I'll keep it safe. Not just the house. But the truth. Because once you know what's buried under your feet, you never walk the same way again.